Welcome to Review the Channel with me, Lobstermagnet, and my good buddy Gorogregoro. We
Hey,
are here to talk about the 2017 episode 7 of the second season of Berzerk, the anime that everyone loves to hate and hates to love. Greg, what do you think of this epic action sequence where we got to see the Kelpie and the penis monster ogre fight?
I completely forgot about the Kelpie. Uh, it was cool, just like spitting out random mythological, monsters here and there.
Well, that's what Berserk does. It's got plenty of mythological monsters, all based in history and various cultures, and deploys them every now and then. And Kelpie was kind of badass, and it gave like Serpico a worthy opponent. Well, of course, Guts has to fight off against the penis whale monster ogre. And man, can I just say that like nobody's better at doing like penis monsters than Moira, Katara. Moira. He's like the grand gold medalist of like penis monsters, and like a lot of competition at in Japan, but like he's the king. He's the best of doing like incredible penis monsters.
Uh, I wonder if the Gantz guy has ever done a lot of penis monsters before.
I feel like there's some penis-like monsters, and he does do penis stuff, but like there's nothing compared to that like whale monster or the other penis things we've seen him do throughout the series.
Yeah, he's not afraid to whip out the penis metaphor, symbology on the
Or
monsters.
or his whip out his pen, which is also like a penis, which he uses to draw and just draw more penises. It's his specialty. The trolls have penis-like snouts, and then the giant ogre has a huge penis-like head mouth thing with like little two holes were like whale things. It was always a fun design, and it was fun, even though it's a lot of CGI, a lot of like PS2 cutscene esque. I still enjoyed it.
There was more 2D animation, I feel like, in this episode than in most episodes. Um,
I don't know about. There's still like a lot of 3D stuff with like moving the monsters around and having copying and pasting them, and the static animation. But we got a lot of great scenes of Shirke using her magic powers, and I
yes.
always loved how magic is handled in Berserk. Like it's not something you can control, not something that she can like do very deliberately.
Yeah. Um, and the fact that she gets lost in within controlling the water spirit, that's always a nice little touch. Just trying to put down the limitations, just like step down the limitations of magic. Or like, yeah, you know what I mean. Like, create more
Well,
limitations
yeah,
for magic.
there are hard limits in the sense that like she can't just summon a fire spell. She has to like channel it and get the spirit. The spirit has to possess her, and then she can do incredible things. But it takes a while. It's not particularly easy.
And it takes a toll on her spirit self as well, because you could see that she'll get lost within the power of the water spirit, and it's not very easy to control unless she has someone trying to hold her back. But even then, it's like it's iffy.
Yeah, I like the little scene where they're like tapping, and then the whatchamacallit, the priest guy's like, "Oh, all right, I gotta acknowledge your paganistic magic, even though if it's black magic. I guess you saved the village."
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting. No one seemed angry about the whole flood destroying all their houses, all their belongings, or anything like that.
Yeah, man, they had like rape trolls who were going to kill them brutally and rape the women and do awful things. So, at that point, like, you can't complain about houses being destroyed if it's that versus like, horrible troll rape.
I mean, there might be some who would be like, "Oh my God, my home, our homes, we don't have any, all our, uh, all our belongings are washed away, or how are we gonna survive now with, I guess they'll rebuild or whatever. Maybe their farms weren't just completely destroyed by the flood or whatever. Their food supply."
they'll manage just like many villagers manage in the Berserk world, because it's an awful world where you're either pillaged by bandits or knights or the cushions or horrible demons, apostles. So
That'd be like absolutely the worst kind of person to be like in Berserk. You're just a regular villager. You're gonna get like fucked every single way possible.
yeah, it's
In the
pretty
Bers-
miserable. It's not a universe you want to be in. It's not a universe you want to be an average person, because it's just a miserable existence where your life is like, discarded like a piece of chocolate, and you're just like at the whims of, war and fate, and have no control over it.
you're
Anything.
like the whims of causality.
The whims of causality of karma, because no man can control their will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, Poor Berserk villagers. But oh yeah, I was also gonna say, uh, this whole arc, like up to this point, feels like a really fun D&D campaign.
Yeah, it kind of is. This is like the most very D&D ish that like Berserk gets for like fantasy, in the terms of like, Guts has his party. They all have their sort of distinct roles. You've got the thief, you've got the Berserker warrior, you've got like the fencer rogue, you've got the mage, you've got the mental retarded woman from horrible trauma, which I guess isn't really a staple that most people would like to have in their D&D campaigns. But yeah, this is sort of like the most fun and rollicking adventure it's been in a long time, versus like the grittier golden age. And I'm about to use my channel the spirits of light to do my magic dance.
Hmm. You might be breaking up in terms of internet connection too. Hopefully your magic dance repairs the internet a little bit.
Hey, my internet connection's fine. You're the one who was like breaking up and having like shitty audio.
Oh, well, I don't think I don't think it'll show up on my end that I'm getting shitty audio, but I'm, you know, it's hard to say who's breaking up where, because from my perspective, you're breaking up. From your perspective, I'm breaking up.
Well, you're clean now. You were breaking up like I don't know, 7 minutes ago. But back to the episode though. So this whole thing was kind of like a D&D campaign where Guts makes friends and learns the power of friendship.
Yeah, Guts is like, wow, friends are really dependable. They can create whole mudslides to wipe out, all a whole army of trolls and an ogre.
He definitely tempers down, but then again, I guess the whole like having to take care of his like handicapped, disabled girlfriend, kind of forces him into that position where he has to be more accepting of people.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I think Shriek really performed pretty well in that first episode we seen her in action. So Guts has a lot of faith now in her magic abilities, and he's growing a lot more faithful towards his whole party in general.
Well, it's kind of interesting when you bring up that argument, that sort of point, because like he there were like several other girls like from previous arcs that some of them we didn't see, like the Valley of Lost Children. There's a little girl, and she's like, "Take me, Guts. I want to go with you. I've got nothing left here. It's terrible." And then Guts like looks at her. He's like, "Yeah, you don't want to come with me. All that follows me is death and darkness." And it's basically his way of saying, well, like, you're fucking useless. I don't want you. You will die, and I will not care because it's your own fucking fault.
Yeah, but you remember in like some of the previous episodes, or it was like a few episodes ago when he first gets his traveling band of travelers. He needs the party now to take care of Casca. I mean, he can't protect Casca as he is now because he's just one pair of eyes. You
Yeah,
know,
he's one pair of eyes who's constantly being assaulted by demonic forces from the astral realm who are all seeking to possess him. And, he's also kind of has that sad, like, angry impulse that wants to, like, eat her and murder her and try and have sex with her all at the same time.
yeah, which is, you know, he's a little bit messed up in that respect, but
If he was in the DC universe, he would have a tattoo on his head that says damaged. Because, he's like all messed up.
what?
All messed up.
What is that referencing?
There's this like really funny animation where like I have this guy called Film Cow where he basically does this animation of like the Joker getting the tattoos, Joker, making fun of like the Suicide Squad Joker.
Which tattoos does Joker have in the Suicide Squad?
He literally has a tattoo on his forehead that says damaged. And they have this where the animated Joker is like, I want to like a tattoo on here that says damaged because people know that I'm all messed up. I'm all messed up on the inside, but put it in like a fancy lettering because I still want it to look professional for job interviews.
That is like this Joker's like the worst Joker we've ever had, ever.
so wouldn't you like that if Guts had like damaged and scrawled on his forehead?
No. Never.
Greg, he's all.
Or how about like Griffith on his forehead?
Just
Griffith did this.
I don't know. That's the one thing about Guts is that he's a very internal character. He doesn't like to advertise. It's kind of funny. Like, he's been traveling with them for like so many freaking chapters of manga, but none of them know about the events of the eclipse. And only now are they like possibly going to find out as they like try and recover Casca's memory.
Yeah, that is pretty. It's pretty neat that he does internalize a lot of his problems, which I imagine adds to his appeal as a character.
Oh, of course, because we love lone badasses, and the epitome of masculinity is never seeking help, and well, he eventually seeks help, but like never discussing your problems with anyone and being able to hold up your own with a giant sword. If only all of our lives' problems could be solved with giant 10-foot swords.
I mean, Guts has had a pretty rough life, from his beginning with Gambino all the way to being in the Hawks, Band of the Hawks. I mean, he sort of gained some level of happiness with the Band of the Hawks, but then completely shattered and betrayed later on after.
Well, he partially kind of like is responsible for that because like Griffith's whole descent into like the all the shit that happens is after Guts leaves and Griffith can't win him back, and then he like sleeps with the queen or the princess, and then that's when all the shit goes wrong.
So in a way, do you think Guts feels guilty that it was all on him that this happened?
Possibly, but if you go by the larger Berzerk mythos about the causality of fate and the King Behelit that Griffith had, that it was always going to happen. Even if Guts stayed, some other circumstance would have happened that would have led him down that path.
Man, poor Guts. I don't know. It's hard to blame Guts for those events, like the eclipse. How can he be blamed for that?
No, well, I mean, the eclipse is all Griffith. He had the option to turn down the offer, but he said yes. So I guess you could say that like Guts isn't responsible for that, but he did have a hand in like leading towards the destruction of the Band of the Hawk, the original Band of the Hawk.
Okay, yeah, man. I wonder if Griffith was like gonna one day point out to Guts like, you know what? You were responsible for all of this. You are responsible. You have no right to be angry at me. You have no right to be angry. You did this to yourself. You did this to everybody.
That would be really interesting. But the thing about Griffith now is that like he's so fucking internalized. We have no idea what the fuck he's thinking.
Oh, I know.
which like it makes him like 10 times scarier in a way, just because he's like the super messiah guy, but like we know what he's capable of and what he'll do, and like seemingly no force on Earth is there to challenge him. But like what will he do? And if anyone does like throw a threat to him, he's got like a demon army which he can sick or feed them to.
I wonder if Griffith is going to target like Elfheim or something.
That's what I feel like is going to happen. I feel like we're happy. We saw that like
for like it's seemingly no particular reason. He's going to attack this peaceful little cove of elves and wizards.
Well, there was an explanation where like the old wizards were like talking to Guts, and they're explaining how there's like these paths to the Dragon Road that are protected by these like ancient magic trees, and if they're all of them are destroyed, then the worlds will collide and some crazy shit will happen or something, and then Guts says that like the only true thing I know about Griffith is that he'll always go for the higher kingdom.
Maybe we should put like in the video here. We'll put like maybe minor spoilers of the manga.
Maybe, but like people were not hankering for these reviews, so like I'm not too worried about like people. But
who knows? It might even get more views if you say spoilers. And they're like, yes, they're talking about current content in the manga. They don't give a shit.
Although I don't know, I don't think anyone watching Berzerk is like not a manga fan. I don't think it's done a really good job of like bringing in people who aren't familiar with Berzerk.
Oh yeah, that's true. You did say that.
Yeah.
Did say that before.
Like, have you ever seen anyone online who's like, "Oh my god, this anime is so awesome. Where do I learn more about Berzerk?"
Well, I mean, sometimes it's like Berzerk is like a personal journey. Sometimes you have to watch the original 1997 anime all the way through to the very end, and then you're like, well, what the fuck happens after that? And then you start reading the manga and you're like, oh, okay, this is way more fucked up than I thought it was gonna be. Yeah, and you just keep on reading.
So far, like they haven't cut anything except for like the fact that people don't have nipples in the 2007 Berzerk universe. But they've like kept it pretty, all the hardcore stuff into it. That's kind of been neat and fun as a longtime Berzerk fan to see like nothing gets sanitized, because like even the old anime, like they cut out a lot of stuff. They cut out the Prince of Persia. He has an appearance which you don't get to see. They cut out the subplot where like the king like wants to sleep with the princess, his daughter. He's like has this obsession with her. They cut off that like ape man who like stalks after Berzerk, after Guts and the Band of the Hawk, and he like he's like enjoyment and excitement.
I feel like that was. I actually like that they cut off that guy because that was whatchamacallit. I feel like the surprise at the end of the anime was just so worth it. Like the complete like batshit crazy surprise at the end of the anime was just like so much better without the ape guy sort of like leading up to it.
Because I guess in the anime there really isn't much apostle stuff except for like Zod. Zod's like the only kind of like supernatural
in the very beginning as well, where Guts fights a serpent guy.
Yeah, and then the rest of it's all more like ground level, medieval Game of Thrones stuff.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm glad that they cut out that guy from the anime. He wasn't really worth it, in my opinion.
I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to see him animated, but he's the ultimate sort of like evil, obnoxious, super rapey monkey man.
Yeah, but he doesn't really add anything to the rest of the story, I feel.
Nah, he's just sort of like another impossible thing for Guts to cut down.
It was just like a lead up to the eclipse. It was also sort of to soften the blow of like when the eclipse happens. Oh, he's they were just fighting one of those crazy apostle monsters, so now you get to see a whole army of them and all that stuff.
Man, someday though, Greg, maybe you should watch the third animated movie where they do all the. They did a pretty good job with the eclipse sequence.
Maybe. I think they used some footage of that in this anime, in this version of
Yeah,
Berserk.
I think they definitely did. Just saves money because it's already been done. Because I feel like the whole reason why this anime exists is because of those movies.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's exciting though. I certainly hope we get to the scene with guts and it's in the stupid opening, so that implies we're gonna get the Berserker armor. Things are moving at a good clip.
That's true. So, did you tell Scott about this YouTube video stuff?
Yep.
We can get him on the conversation at some point.
At some point, yeah. I just gotta some point on a Saturday, maybe we'll do like a One Piece chapter review. But we gotta like troubleshoot it and make sure we get one, that his equipment works, and two, that we can like Skype him smoothly.
Yeah, and then I also have to make a new overlay for
all
three of us.
Figure out an overlay for like all three of us. Maybe you can put all three of us at the bottom, and then have us like right next to each other, and then just like have the entire picture as opposed to in the center.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, that could work.
Because I feel like it would be too cluttered with like three in the middle. But that wraps it up. I should get going to work. Speaking of Scott, and check in with him, and so we can keep our good old workout pick up. And those are our thoughts on Greg. What score would you give this episode?
I give it like a 7 or 6.5.
I think seven's fair.
Yeah.
It did a good job of adapting the material, even if it was kind of like PlayStation 2 cutscene CGI. But it's fun to see all these elements brought to life. Finally, the D&D adventuring party is here. It may not look the prettiest. It may not be as cool as the original artwork, but it's still there with all the voice acting and animation, and the 4 or 5 OST songs played again and again.
It needs like an Attack on Titan kind of animation quality, I feel, for Berserk. It needs like that kind of level of treatment.
That would be amazing. Like a Wit Studio Tetsuo Araki, like. Oh, that would be so good. He'd be the perfect guy to handle it, though.
Like, they should probably have put all the CG... They should just, like, have Switch Studios. Imagine, like, everything in Attack on Titan was just, like, CG. Like, god-awful CG.
The attack on the Colossal Titan was CG in the last 2 episodes.
Oh, I know. And they do that every once in a while, but it's, it's relatively seamless, harmless to do it like that. Because something like that massive, it feels appropriate sometimes when you do it in CG.
Hey, but they had them animated and back in the original one. What the fuck? What's going on here? Or, I don't know. Maybe it's just easier to move them. I'm sure there's some technical reason.
Yeah. Because when you're doing all those 3D gear maneuvers around a CGI object, it's easier to, I guess, draw that out. I guess, I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. I don't have the animation background or vocabulary to like fully justify it and say, oh, they did that because of blah 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 blah. But anyway, though, thanks for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back probably later this week with exciting manga reviews.
All right, we'll see you then.
Take it easy, guys. See you in the next one. Oh, and before we sign off, Greg, we should get Scott in on the Promised Neverland. That would be the really good one to get him, because that series kind of comes out later.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But anyway, see you guys in the next one.
All right, see you then.